Premature.
Oh,
Only a little bit. Yeah. How appropriate, because the time is at hand for us to convene. So let us call the meeting to order at just about 6. It's a 1. Are there additions and deletions to the agenda? There's one, so the late afternoon edition, which you may or may not have, depending on when you print it out. Your copy of the edition of the
what is it?
agenda. Let's to schedule a second CDBG public hearing.
Oh,
And that can go to the end if everybody's okay with that. Anything else to add or subtract? If not, over to the floor. Is anyone who would like to address the board for any reason? Steve? Both of you.
There, is this okay?
It's a little far. If both share up a little.
No.
It's more to sit there and just use this.
Sure.
You gotta turn the mic down.
Great, thank you all for being here. Thank you for putting so much time and energy into the service of the town. I really appreciate that. Just wanted to say, a lot of you know, I started a farm business to bring people together and preserve farmland. I received the proper approvals from the town and the state, and we've really enjoyed bringing joy and connection to the whole community. And if anyone has an issue with any current activities, I would love to hear from them, their concerns. I always welcome communication. If anyone wants to touch base about any concerns, please contact me. I'm easy to find and I welcome open communication. I would like to emphatically reiterate that we at South Hill Cider have never encouraged anybody to park on any roads, nor on any property other than our own. I've only focused on parking people safely off the road on my own property. We've paid employees to act as parking attendants to maintain and increase the safety of the community. That's what I've written here, and I like I said, just to let you all know, I really truly am looking out for the community. I'm trying to keep everybody safe. I'm trying to increase the joy in our world, and I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else? Can't believe we have a couple regulars who are not here tonight. Consequently, I don't see any others. So let's move on. There's a heap of correspondence reported on. Notably, one of them is highlighted, which is my statement of acknowledging the opinion of the Board of Ethics and agreeing to act accordingly. For the record, the other emails are available to anybody who wants them through the clerk's office. Any announcements? None? I don't think we're gonna give Irene either, do we?
You know, just that actually this weekend, the 25th, from 10 to 1 is the groundbreaking ceremony, the grand opening of the Coddington Valley Rail Trail, which is the extension of the South Hill Recreation Trail from Burns Road south, almost 8 miles all the way down to the Tioga County line. So celebration is right at Burns Road, or is it at Banks?
It's not, it's toward the other end. I think Bell School.
Oh, Bell School, okay. And you can just Google Coddington Valley Rail Trail and kind of link. I should know that off the top of my head.
It's gonna be in one place and they moved it, and I don't remember where.
when is that gonna be?
It's 10 to 1. And the location
On
I
Saturday.
can find
Saturday?
in
Yeah.
a minute.
You wanna come? And we didn't get any from Irene, did we? No. And neither did Keith say he had anything he wanted to present. We have one set of minutes ready to approve. I move we approve the March 9th special meeting minutes.
Second.
Connors,
Oh, wait,
Abstain, I wasn't here.
wait, what?
Dillon,
Yes.
Larkins,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Gagnon.
Yes. And the second says not ready yet.
Right, those, I think Blake just wants people to have a look at them.
Yeah.
Including the public.
Let's see, the account analyses are now available. I didn't put them up, link them until this morning, but if they're there, if anybody wants to look at them. Which brings us to the warrant. Because there are no transfers needed for this warrant.
I had a few things.
I have a question about the warrants. I think that there are some things in there that we approved at the last meeting, right?
Well, no, well, I think that this is, I emailed Julie, but maybe she's not in or something, but I think this is actually abstract 9. Because last meeting, we did abstract 8
It's all the name.
for the credit card.
Right.
So all the stuff on the credit card should not be on this.
Be honest.
Yeah, and I think Julia caught that
She
in
did,
the total.
yes.
So,
The
but,
totals are correct,
Well-
but just cross out the credit card.
yeah,
That's my understanding. I didn't hand check it.
Right.
You know, some of that is my fault too, you guys.
Oh, I
had
knew it.
I had suggested that we do additions to that. That
yeah,
it's just that we had it, just kept it at an abstract number 8, but and just added to it. You guys had already approved the first part of it, but if you want it to be abstract 9, it can be abstract 9.
I feel like it should be abstract 9, just it's a totally different day and
Okay.
we already approved that stuff.
Yeah.
So we didn't even need to see it.
It's
That's
true,
my,
it was already been audited, that was a website for special meeting, so.
that's me. I know it probably doesn't make a big deal.
Nope, that's okay.
Definitely make sure not to have duplicate charges
No.
on one abstract and on another.
Right.
I feel like that's something.
Right.
Even if we know what it means. I
Yeah.
think we've been
Yeah.
in trouble from some audit or something.
Okay.
Yeah, we audited it twice, as long as.
Yeah, really.
As long as
It
we
should-
don't-
yeah.
As long as we don't cut checks twice, then not really a problem, but say the extra cut of looking at things twice.
Well, I'll move the general fund and then somebody can second it and we can talk about it.
Okay, good idea.
I move it, the general fund. Although
So is this abstract 9, are we
I
gonna?
think we need to chat because I disagree with the total,
Okay, but do we?
but it's just by a couple.
But for starters, when you make a motion, are we moving abstract 9,
Abstract 9,
general fund vouchers?
Okay.
without the total. But I'm,
Do we have a second?
yeah,
Is it 146 or
Second.
158?
Well, my.
yeah, it's 146 to 158.
Okay. 39, 46, 57,
57.
$3,946.57. Is that?
Exactly.
Equivalent about,
Oh, good.
because I think Cindy said, you thought,
Yeah.
they thought the total was correct, right?
No,
That's what
No.
they
yeah,
told me.
it's off a little. This, I
Is
think,
it?
but the question is.
Okay, let's talk about it.
On voucher 152.
Yeah.
Which I think is the, I think a journal maybe?
For the ads.
Yeah,
Here's legal notice.
yeah. So on the bill, it says, well, it looked like there was a credit. But it's hard to tell from this bill of 2563.
They might have been.
And I'm not
credit.
sure if I'm just not understanding their English. It says unapplied included in amount due. So that.
It
I
might have
just
been a
wonder
credit.
about
Remember,
that.
we had ordered a posting for, I forget which public hearing, and then it was the zoning amendments. We did it once and then we pulled it back and rescheduled it. So we canceled the order. So it could have come out, it could have been out as a credit that way.
Well, even if I'm wrong about that, there was one price for if you paid by cash and another price if you paid by credit card.
Mhm.
I think 152 just needs to be looked at.
Mhm. Okay, make a note of it. So
I kind of find it hard to,
do we authorize payment of it and then, ask them to adjust if necessary?
but what total does she have on it now? What,
39, 46, 57.
yeah, I have 48 instead of 57.
Hmm.
And I mean, I added them all like 3 times. 3,946 and 48 cents is what I
Hmm.
got.
46, 48.
Yeah. I don't
Hmm.
know if anybody wants to do that quickly or,
Oh. So we're doing 48, 25, 86 and taking out the credit card stuff. Minus.
You should, no,
which she did. That, I mean, that happened. Um,
I think I see what you're saying, is that on that, it's a good journal, there's 4 items, and they say that it adds up to 262.62.
right.
But that's neither the total cash amount due nor the total credit card amount due. Is that part of what
No, it's not in the credit card.
it's not on?
No, it's 152. It's on the voucher. I know, they say 262. Which is what's on the abstract. 262, I hate to beat a dead horse, 62,
yeah.
but I don't understand, it looks like it could be just, it says unapplied, included in amount due is negative 2563. So, but just forget about that, but they've got total cash amount due 236.99. And if it's cash, if it was a credit card, it should have been 246.45. So how do we pay? We pay with credit card? Or do we pay with a check?
We pay with a check. We pay with a check.
Is that considered cash?
Yeah,
Yes.
So
Shall we just pull this one out and pay it on the next abstract? We'll take a look at it.
if we don't get in trouble for it,
yeah, do we get a late charge if we do that?
I mean, if somebody could, really eyeball that bill.
I'm having trouble getting off this screen to get into what I want to get into. Okay.
If there's
I
no
mean,
harm.
we approve
you could take
certain amount, and then if it's different, revise it next meeting, is that? It's kind of shaky.
Well, it's not
Well,
unlikely.
what's the lowest amount that you come up with for that bill? I'm so sorry I can't
For
look
the
at
whole
it. I
bill,
don't know why I've got such a big
But-
screen here and I can't get out of it to look. Yeah, the whole bill. What would you say, Leslie? That the total
well,
should-
forget about if it's paid in cash, it's $3,920.85. If we paid that bill in cash. That would be,
What's the
total.
total amount for the Gannett? For the
Looking at, well, not.
Gannett.
well, they have 236.99.
Okay, let's say that that's 236.99. You guys want to go on to highway and I'll just add up these figures quick?
Okay.
Would that help at all?
We'll put a hold on that.
Motion
Sorry.
temporarily withdrawn.
If Julia, I mean, I've probably got it too late. I think I sent her a note early this morning, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Sure. Want to try your luck with highway?
Anyway, okay. I'll move highway fund abstract 9, vouchers 58 through 63 for $8,760.04.
I'll second.
Okay, so any discussion?
Mariah second.
She seconded it.
Yeah.
Nobody has anything more to add. So Cindy can call the vote.
Yeah,
Connors,
yes.
Dylan.
Yes.
Larkins, Bruce,
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yes.
Okay,
You can-
related to this one, and to give her maybe a little more time, I was gonna bring it up anyway. Addressing some of the issues that the auditor has come up with a couple times.
On the highway?
There are three items on the bill that technically the state would say should be under state contract pricing. So we talked about coming up with a list of the vendors who are, because I don't know, and you can't tell by
No, that's
looking
right.
at them.
I
So
wondered about it for a long time. How do we
like
know
Robert,
that-
there's three, 60, 61, and 63 vouchers. That Robinson, they have a contract with Tompkins County.
Mhm.
How do you say it? Meribido?
Rabbito?
Mirabido. That's state contract pricing. And Seneca Stone is not state contracting pricing. And it costs a little more, but so long as you have a good reason for doing that.
Yeah.
Which is namely the limestone they have is the preferred limestone is cleaner.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had problems with dirty stuff.
Right. Dust is a problem when we try to mix it with oil.
So, yeah, so anyway, so.
Even that one, Leslie, even that
Yeah.
one, Seneca Stone, we are going off of a county bid.
Seneca Stone is county too?
That's county.
Okay,
Not,
same
not,
same as
but so
Robinson.
so
Okay.
we're going off of a county bid on that one.
Okay,
How did you
Alright.
find this information?
huh?
How did you find that information? Where did you?
I asked somebody.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And since Leslie was asking that, I did the research today.
Well, because that's something that we're supposed to be paying attention
that's
to,
right,
and you
right.
can't
Right.
tell from
I've
the
done the
bills.
research. I did
Right.
all the research and everything to it. And I had sent Leslie back an email too, and it said, yeah, we are on state contract. All three of those vendors right there. We just didn't put the proof on there. And I have someone calling me back tomorrow too to help me navigate that state program a little bit better so I can get a good printout for you.
Oh,
So, and it's been something that's been on our mind for a while too, and I know
Right.
we need to do it, and perhaps we can finally accomplish that where we will put a list. So for instance,
It
I've
might
got a
sound
list.
crazy, but since I switched to Intuit QuickBooks, it feels like I can be everywhere at once. Expenses, leads,
Caitlin can hear you.
all handled on one platform by.
Doesn't sound like that.
Yeah.
So it did a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's a contract with the Tompkins County, it's still sort of under the state
Yes,
umbrella.
some of the things,
Okay.
they go out for county bid. Now, for instance, Mirabido, we go off of a New York State contract. And that's
Right.
because of the type of
Right.
commodity that it is. So we are getting the New York State, like I say, Jack's constantly calling to make sure we have it. Now
Yeah.
we're going to get to the bottom of it so we can give you a printout and we'll
Okay.
circle it. And we'll attach it to your voucher so that you can see, yes, on that particular, the state contract price changes every week
Ah,
in a 7-day period. So each week, depending on it, you got to go up and look it up and try to make sure it is. And we want to do that. We really do. We just hadn't got to it yet, but
Yeah.
we can do it.
Okay,
We'll get to the bottom of that part. And then we have lists of prices from each of those other companies as far as our gravel and our stone goes.
all right,
And so we can have a bunch of copies of those too and just highlight for you which ones they were so that you know we're getting those prices on those bills.
Okay.
Actually, they go for an entire year. So eventually you'll look at
That's
them and
easy.
realize, that's right, $7.50 or $9 for crushed bank run, or it'll, for our things that we use. But
Oh.
we can attach them. It'll make auditors happy, and it's
Yeah.
a nice, clean way to operate. So I'm so glad you asked that question so it could come to the top of the heap.
Okay. Cool beans. Did you figure out the general fund?
No, because I've been talking. I'm sorry.
No, well, we can move the West Danby Water District.
Right there, the waterway, wait.
wa-
I had
water
one
district.
change on the West Danby Water District too that I just spied. It
Oh.
is on voucher number 8.
Yeah,
And it's SW 8310.1, that should be SW
Oh.
8310.4. A .1 account is a
Four.
payroll account, and it should be,
okay,
that was the mistake.
okay. I moved the West Danby Water District abstract 9, vouchers 8 and 9, or $255.
Second.
Good,
Okay, key to business.
Jen?
3099, okay.
good, yes.
Connors?
Yes,
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkins?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Gagnon?
Yes,
Motion passes.
well,
I mean, should we wait
should we come
till
back?
we could come back to the
We could come
water?
back to
We
it.
can
Yeah,
come back to
because
the
I'm-
water. Take your time. Okay,
Moving on,
So-
business, but then remember that we need to return.
I know.
Well, this is Laura too, though. First item.
Well, don't interrupt you. Yeah, no. What is it?
What's
Yeah.
Where are we?
Discussion of the budgetary impacts of prorated health insurance
Oh,
for part-time.
you can see,
where's my-
minus 2090.
Laura shared with us the analysis and the impacts.
Did
Yeah,
you
that-
get, what was the number you got, Leslie? 3,891.49?
For the total for the general fund?
Yes.
If we paid that bill in cash, it looks like $3,920.85. If we paid in cash. If we didn't worry about that bill, it was $3,946.48.
Rick, could you, when we get to it, could you screen share that? Great. It's in the meeting folder,
36.99.
Which one?
the
Health insurance?
benefit analysis.
So if we wanted to, to talk about that health insurance, there were just a couple, you can take a look at what that analysis is. And you can see, and you can, if you went by some of the things we talked about, and I know Joel has talked about this, even in the past when they were going through union negotiations. And he has been bringing this up and kind of talking about this idea for several years. And so that one of the meetings that we had, you guys had asked if we could put together a little analysis so you could see what this looked like in dollars and cents. And so I put together a few things based on the current part-time employees that we have. All calculations are based on the assumption that the board selects a cutoff for eligibility at a minimum of an average of 15 hours a week. So in other words, if the board had decided, okay, if you decided to help with health insurance for part-timers, if you use 15 hours a week, a prorated percentage of, we used a prorated percentage of 40 hours a week, so you can go down through there and you can see what the percentages would be. And I gave you two figures. One, if you used if you applied that percentage to a family policy of what everybody gets, and one if it showed that if that had applied to if you wanted to use the single rate, okay? So your dollars and cents of how that would affect the town currently with the employees that we have, based on the information that we have, it would be an additional $43,450 a year to pay health insurance for part-timers who worked 15 hours a week. If you use the single rate, it would be $17,539.81. Now keep in mind, you probably wouldn't even get to that point because a lot of the part-time people that are here have health insurance through someone else They have health insurance through another company if they're working for another company. If it's a retired person, they have Medicare and other supplemental insurances. Okay. And so, but a maximum amount, so the amount, their amount, in other words, you'd only pay up to their out of pocket from premiums that they're paying somewhere else because it is against the law to give somebody more money for health insurance than what they're actually paying themselves. Unless unless it's part of a specific benefit that you're doing like a buyback, you're doing a buy off of health insurance. But those are
Right, you give
figures
money away.
just so that you have something to think about when you're thinking about doing this. Another idea that you could come up with, so if you, there's two ideas right there. Another idea is if the board felt strongly about doing this for part-time employees and helping, perhaps you could set a dollar amount. You could say, we will help a part-time employee who works for 15 hours a week with a maximum of $2,000 a year or $4,000 a year. I mean, that might be a way to approach it too, if it's something that you're feeling that you want to do for part-time people. So I just put these figures down so you had something to look at and something, something you could see a worst case scenario. I don't mean to make it sound worst. I don't mean to make worst.
Maximum
You'd see a
impact scenario.
maximum. You'd see a maximum.
Maximum of family rate, yeah.
Yeah, you'd see a maximum of the family rate and a maximum if you use the single rate. Although you wouldn't really be, I don't think, if I understood right, you were not interested in paying for an actual family coverage, or the amount that people were paying for their whole family. I think it was just for that single person, if I'm right, because there's all different rates out there for different things. If you have family coverage, there's some people who have coverage where it's a two-person coverage. That's not offered through the consortium, but another person might have that and they pay out of pocket a portion. So there's so many different things to think about and so many different scenarios that could be. But at least you have something so you can see the ballpark or what you're looking for, what you're looking at for a potential max here.
And it's a basis for discussion, because one of the first questions that arose was, well, if we did it, what would it cost us?
Yeah.
So with this information, we can now ask the question again, and give it consideration. What, if anything, are we willing to do to contribute towards the part-timers meeting their health insurance needs? Because that's what I'm pointing to as something I think we ought to consider doing as a matter of
Laura,
equity.
Yes.
Laura, do you know of any other local town that's connected with the consortium that pays insurance coverage for their part-time employees? Do you have any idea?
I haven't heard that anybody's doing that.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean they're not, but I haven't heard of it.
yeah.
What, you mean we might be leading the charge here?
Yes, I was going to say this sounds like a revolutionary idea.
Leading the sinking of the ship. Yeah.
I would say most likely not,
Huh.
but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know other
The cost-
That's
places.
something we could ask. We could.
Yeah.
The cost of health has gotten to be so expensive
I
that
know.
most employers are trying to avoid it by having 3 part-timers rather than 1 full-timer.
That could be the next step in this, is maybe calling around and finding out from and seeing if there's anybody else that's doing
Yeah.
that. And if so, how are they doing that? What are they using for figures to calculate that?
Yeah.
I also think it might be worth doing an internal survey of town staff and saying, is this something that actually interests you?
Right.
If it was available, would you do it?
Right.
Because if it turns out that currently nobody would for various reasons, not to say we shouldn't move forward with a decision like
Right.
this, but it might inform how much we prioritize it.
Yeah.
I was talking to Cindy about this idea in general, and one thing that came up is that currently let me say this right. Eligibility on the healthcare marketplace is based on whether insurance is offered at your job.
Oh,
So if
yeah,
we were to start offering it,
yeah,
we should find out, it might actually make
Make it
some
worse.
employees ineligible
Yeah.
for the marketplace. And if that insurance would be better or more affordable,
Yeah.
then that might actually have a negative impact. So at least we should
check
find
that out,
out,
yeah,
Mhm.
like, and maybe that eligibility is based on 100% coverage, so maybe, us offering 75% prorated, maybe that means they can still use the healthcare
Right.
marketplace. I don't know how that law works,
Right.
I don't even exactly know who to ask, although
yeah,
maybe our health insurance company could answer that, I have no idea who to ask about that.
yeah.
But I feel like we should know what
Yeah.
the impact is gonna be on
Yeah,
employees.
Because I know it's an issue. I'm involved with another group that is looking at the exact same thing, mainly because all their folks are part-time and trying to attract, to attract good applicants when there's an opening.
mhm.
It's came up with Green Springs, so. But I think that's a good idea. The marketplace thing is kind of scary if
Yeah,
it
but the
goes
marketplace
away
goes
with them.
away.
Well, that could go away, but also if getting insurance coverage through the employee makes you
Yeah,
not eligible.
Yeah, that would definitely be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
a
interested in
downside.
that, yeah.
Right. I'm not sure he would even ask.
Actually, the marketplace navigators. I know
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
thing. I don't know if you can just call and ask them a question like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
There are some very helpful people on that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, let me know if either.
When I put these together, I was assuming that the employees that would come on is for 15 hours a week, that if they already had their health insurance, like you say they were paying their Medicare costs or, the amount for Medicare or whatever, that we would reimburse them for that amount that was out of pocket for their current premium for the current coverage that they come on with.
right,
Not that they would come on to our health insurance and
Right.
come into that. I suppose that they could have that, they could do that if they wanted to come on to
Make
our
it-
insurance, but they would have a lot of out of pocket
Yeah.
costs
Sure.
because it's pretty expensive.
yeah,
And that we would just reimburse them for that out of pocket up to that dollar amount. Kind of the way that we do with Joel right now, and we do with Keith right now. They have insurance someplace else, so we reimburse them for the amount that they're paying out of pocket for that insurance. As long as it's nothing that's over the amount that we're doing for any other employee.
right, right. Okay, so
Good
a couple of
way.
things we need to look at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have any of the
That could be
part-time
a-
folks expressed an interest in
I didn't ask.
that we have?
Well, I think it would be something that no one would deny. I mean, no one would say no to because they have their insurance, they're paying out of pocket, they're working more than 15 hours a week,
Right.
and they receive a benefit from the town. The
Yeah.
benefit will be, say, because you work 15 hours, we've got this amount sitting here for you to help you
Right.
pay for your out of pocket costs for your premiums on your other
Right.
products that you have.
Right,
So they would be like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Unless it jeopardized,
there,
their
Yeah.
coverage for reasons like what you just
Okay.
identified. So we need to. check
so I
that
think
out.
it's something to think about and get more information.
Yeah. But my new assistant could do that.
I did do some research into this.
Oh, did you?
And I think that I get my health insurance through the marketplace, and I get subsidies. And I think that if I were accepting,
Gotcha. You're right. Mhm.
if I were accepting additional costs from the town, I would not be able to qualify for my subsidies.
Yeah,
And my subsidies are more valuable to me than what the town is
right,
offering.
right,
So-
Absolutely. Good point.
Population.
I know, it's like that,
And then another way is if it turns out that it's too complicated or isn't in the best interest to offer this, we could also, Mariah's brought up a few times, revisiting sort of pay equity within town staff and making sure that we're paying people what they're worth and keeping up with, I don't know, I feel like as time has changed, we hired this one and that one and sort of maybe, I don't know, I'm kind of speaking for you, but you've brought this up a few times about making sure that we're being equitable in how we
Yes.
pay staff. So just to tie that in with this, because it is kind of part of being equitable employer.
It is part of it, and that's one of the reasons I raised it, because the health insurance is a tremendous, benefit. And and people are paid by the hour, with or without, it makes no account of the fact that their health, sometimes they get health insurance, sometimes they don't. And so, the very part-timers are the ones who are getting paid the least, and they have the least benefits associated with the position. So to me, it's inherently inequitable the way it's structured. And now if there's an attempt to do it, you say, look, can we at least make a contribution toward covering the health insurance, but they have to get it from someplace, at least they should be.
Okey doke.
So, yeah. So we've already got Cindy saying, well, at least in her instance, it would not be helpful.
If Cindy doesn't
Yeah.
want it, let's just forget it.
So whatever we have to come up with, it has to prevent that.
Yeah.
We just make it optional.
If we could, if that's an option, that if we can offer it as an option, but that doesn't change their eligibility,
Yeah.
then that would be fine. That
That'd
would
be
fix it.
different, yeah.
Still-
Yeah. Maybe interesting question.
Yeah,
Case down, but check it out.
okay.
Look at more, and we got somebody else to help do it.
I do have a number now.
Should we come back?
$3,920.85. That's what I come up with, Leslie.
39, 20, 89,
392085.
85. And was that for all, was that for the full roster of 146 to 158?
Yes, for the whole thing, and I took out that amount,
Say that amount again?
3,920.85.
Yeah, that's what I had.
All right.
3,920.85.
We paid with a check, or yes,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
Voucher 152.
yeah,
No, it's in there. It's just
yeah, with it.
Oh.
with a note to, check it out.
Check it out, yeah. So I move, can we go back to the general
Yes.
fund? I move the general fund vouchers, abstract 9, vouchers 146 through 158 for $3,920.85.
I'll second.
You Good now?
Dylan?
Yeah.
Connor?
Yes. Yeah.
Larson?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Gagnon?
Yes. Okay. The skate park. A couple of issues that come up. One of them that was raised was whether or not highways is using, wants to use the Bald Hill property for their purposes. I got clarification from Keith that no, not really. I mean, they're okay with
Oh,
it
good,
not.
okay.
So,
Because he had talked about it in the past.
yeah. They're okay with it, being used for something else. And the other question was whether, given its former use as a highway facility, whether there might be issues with contamination there that might create a public health hazard if we make a park out of it.
Mhm.
And Zach looked into that in the report, which is fine.
I found receipt of tank removal and cleanup with documentation from 1954, the 2 original tanks being.
When was it? Nick?
Tanks were installed in 1954.
It showed on the tax rolls that tanks were installed in 1954 and that they were removed in 1995.
1995.
I don't know. I could try and pull it up, but I'm just going off.
Okay.
And then it was fascinating digging back through all of the files and finding that the DCC actually proposed putting a community center there around late 90s. early 1991.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was keeping the highway garage, which was 2,800 square feet roughly, and adding a 5,600 square foot building onto it for the playground and parking. And I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But with that, they did a preliminary soil study that found
Right.
that it was acceptable for use
As a playground.
as a playground and community center.
So it looks like we have a clean bill of health. No reason not to proceed. Greg, you want to speak to the, was it
Sure.
Guy who mentioned we really don't have to go to the planning board for site plan?
We can ask them.
Yeah, right.
We can ask for their help.
I mean, we've already gone through
Yeah.
the planning board with one meeting. Yes.
You have to learn this.
Yeah, so I found out that there's this whole thing about governmental immunity from local land use regulations. It's often used by the state or the schools to do projects on their property. But you know, so essentially the town board would say to the planning board, we want to actually just do this project. We don't need to go through site plan review. So just to take a step back, that public park and anywhere in Danby requires site plan review by the planning board. And so I was just asking questions about, oh, well, who should do seeker? You know, who should do the state environmental quality review? Should it be the planning board or town board? And then Guy brought up, well, actually the town board doesn't even need to go through the planning board to get this project done. So I brought that up to the planning board. You know, it could be the town board. It's totally completely your decision if you want to make that case to the planning board to just sort of not have it go through site plan. But in looking at the project and the proposal, it all meets the standards, at least what's proposed. In other words, none of the features on the site are, you know, impacting setbacks, or, you know, they're not, you're not asking for relief from any of the standards. So the feeling at the meeting, and the planning board certainly felt like, I mean, there wasn't like a motion or anything, but the planning board, the feeling was, you know, we'd rather just have to review this. It takes some weight off the town board too, of many other things that you're working on.
Yeah, no, it's great to have other minds.
Yeah.
Focus on it.
Yeah, so decision is yours.
It would be it'd be mainly just to give input. Like we
Right.
could say, hey, what do you think about?
It's also having a final,
Yeah,
like, there's in
Public.
theory being a mailer sent out to the neighbors again.
Right.
We're within 500 feet, and it'll be public.
Yeah, so they did schedule
Well-
a public hearing for their May 20th.
The third Wednesday of May.
Hearing on the
Hey, Dwayne.
site plan for the ball field park.
May 20th.
Right.
Opportunity for the public to weigh in.
Sorry.
An opportunity for the public to weigh in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, so we'll mail,
So what's being put to the public? Is it what Zach basically presented to us?
right, but you're gonna send an updated version with the parking style, we're gonna change a little bit, and, but not much, I mean, really the comments, and do you wanna talk about the comments from the planning board? They were very supportive, they asked us some questions, Yeah, I mean, it just seems that we're doing this on the sake of transparency
Yeah.
and.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the planning board
Yeah.
said, yeah.
what I heard was they don't really need to be involved, but if the board would like their input,
Yeah.
they'd welcome
Yeah, I mean,
the chance to say
You were
something.
there and I missed it.
Yeah.
Which is unusual, but.
so. I guess my question I have right now, as kind of an aside, is there is a building on the property that is in rather bad shape.
Yes,
And I've heard different things. Is this still covered by the highway? Is the property still?
no,
Okay. So there does not have to be a change of the property to relieve them of liability.
it's the town property.
Okay.
I was asking, do we have a standard liability waiver? and I haven't had a chance to ask that question of Laura. I suspect, I don't remember ever seeing one, but it would be a good idea to have one for volunteers to sign.
Sure.
If they're going to be involved, just realize that you're doing it at your own risk.
Yeah. It'd just be nice to get started on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Getting it cleaned up.
Mhm. It would.
And were we planning in this meeting to also vote to make it to declare it parkland? Because that was in your email, but it's not on the agenda. I don't know.
Right.
Yes.
It's,
I don't.
Yeah,
Do we need to-
Just briefly, do we want them? Or there are advantages, because you qualify for certain funding that you're not, if you're
Right.
not.
right. So the benefit, off the bat is just that it's, you qualify for certain, fundings by having it be parkland. The downside, if you could see it as a downside, I don't really think you see it as a downside, is that if you ever wanted to convert it to something else other than park, you'd have to go through the state legislature to do that, because it would be considered alienation in park.
Alienation is just a big deal. Is there any
But
chance that we would actually put community centers there? Because that's interesting thought.
Especially,
Hmm.
I would assume not, especially not if we put a skate park.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that,
You take up so much space, there won't be space left.
yeah, and we'd also start crowding into the buffer
Yeah.
from Buttermilk.
And if we do a community center one day, I feel like we get on 96B.
Yes.
A lot of physical.
Absolutely.
The most sense.
Yeah, it's finding the right place for it.
Yeah.
Issue for the last 20 years.
It'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, well, it's only an acre, and what?
1 point.
What do we have to do? Do we just have to declare it parkland? What do we have to? What
I
step
think it's
do we have?
easy in, hard out, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple resolution. I prepare one, or maybe it could be done on the fly, but it's just that property is to be dedicated as parkland. If you'd rather go about it a little more formally, I could just prepare a resolution in advance.
Why not?
And do it at the next meeting?
I don't see any compelling reason to be, is there anything like, any funding that we might go after that we do in the next, 2 weeks that would that we won't be able to do in 2 weeks,
So with this,
We
this
could have a special meeting.
Yeah.
would
okay.
fall under the parks that, the park committee. The park and,
That's a private park,
oh, that's a private park.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Got you. Okay,
private park.
Danby Community Park, across the street.
Yeah.
yeah,
There was supposed to be a community center there, but.
Yeah.
But the area that was designated for it, was too wet.
Everything
For
is
there
wet.
for there to be enough space for it, so it ended up being impractical, even though that's the reason the property was purchased in the first place.
Right. I mean, there's probably ways around it, but anyway.
I just, my question is, if it becomes a park, will that park want to fold it into the other parks? Like,
No.
it's
That's private.
Private, very good.
Managed by
Yeah.
a nonprofit.
Right.
Is gonna
Totally.
remain municipal owned, we're just declaring it a park.
Okay,
It could go the other way,
If they go belly up, the
yeah,
town would take it over.
Take that.
Yeah,
right,
okay, gotcha.
but not,
Then we could-
not the other way,
the center over there
yeah, right.
on stilts. I mean,
Well, I know you, again, I'm not sure that it's compatible with the part that's designated parkland. Because
Right,
it's
you mean-
specifically, over there, I mean, that's, that,
But it isn't, I mean.
well, the
front
front
section
part,
is
the
not-
front part, which is what was intended for the community,
Right.
center, was specifically left out
Right,
of that which is designated parkland.
yeah.
So if you had to, if you say, well, that doesn't work, we could do part of the rest of it, I'm not sure that it's compatible with its park use to put a community center upon it. Why not? I don't know, but I do know that they specifically left out the front acreage.
First,
Because they must have thought that including all of it in the parkland would be incompatible with putting a community center on it.
right.
So if you wanted to do
Well, I
it the
think
other
there's an
side,
easement on the other.
you'd have to go through, well, in fact, which worse than, yes, it's a conservation easement on the
Right.
rest of it. It's not just designated parkland.
Right.
That's a lot harder to fix or change. It's probably not there.
Okey dokey.
But I think-
So, yes, why don't we get, prepare a resolution for next time?
Sure, and I could be on the first May meeting,
Yeah,
which would then be in
First May
advance of
meeting.
the
yeah, why not?
public hearing.
1st of May.
We don't need a public hearing for that.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe a simple resolution.
Yeah,
Uh,
so resolution next time.
Yeah, there were other comments we talked about at the planning board, like the possibility for lights, parks often have lights, but I think that's not really a plan at this point. But sometimes people think about that if there's gonna be lights, for a park. But really, because of the Buttermilk Creek right there,
Yeah.
going through there, and there is floodplain, I think it's just
Yeah.
being mindful of some of those stormwater management and the water filtration. And luckily, Jamie Vannucci on the
Yeah.
planning board is a
Mhm.
landscape architect, so she's helped Zach put together plans for some of the bioretention areas.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon to make flood prone areas parkland.
Yeah.
Because, so they get wet once in a while, but as long as it's not a bad use for them.
No.
Cool. Just don't use it as a park when they're underwater.
So when can that building start to be taken down? When there's a waiver?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's it.
yeah.
We need to get.
Oh, yeah, I already got
You got it.
about apartment.
Yeah.
Which I found out you don't actually have to take down government buildings.
You
Really?
don't have to have what?
I know you don't even,
You technically don't have to have a permit to take down a government building. That's why I couldn't find
You're
records
kidding.
of the old.
That gives me an
garage.
idea.
Oh. But yes, we're good.
how about that? But you're gonna get one anyway.
Yes, it is best practice.
And it won't cost us anything.
No,
Hit one hand, and the other.
Now, there's skateboards that have handles and stuff for old
Then
people.
they're called
Scooter.
then they're called scooters.
Okay. Just thinking.
Those are people who might have trouble managing without the handles.
And padding, a lot of padding.
Yeah, wheelchairs, can a wheelchair?
Wheelchair.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Wheels. I've got a transport chair.
That's how they would have had fun being pushed.
Yeah,
It.
yeah.
It's the seniors on skateboards event and some tickets.
Yeah. That could be
You
fun.
have to wear football.
Get the hospital sponsor.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, no. Or some physical therapy group or something, yeah,
Okay,
okay.
the special events law has gone through another revision. New and improved. In some respects, in many respects. Did we screen share that?
sure.
Yeah. We focus on the yellow highlighted text.
Yeah, although I think it's one sentence, it's not, should have been.
Uh-oh, sneaky.
I mean, I didn't review it, you can tell.
Oh, yeah, I think I see it.
So this is an attempt mostly to merge the two versions that we had at the last meeting and incorporate feedback that we've gotten from a few different people, including Warren Cross, who gave some sound specific feedback. It was limited because he's been really busy, but he did give us
Yeah.
Mhm.
went back to the tiered vehicle trigger that's up there. Based on some feedback. The next part of A and B are pretty much the same. C collects a fee or donation for admission. It's pretty much what was there before. Steve Sellen pointed out that having a guitarist with a thing that says donations shouldn't be counted as a donation towards the place. And so I wanted to say it's a fee or donation.
Oh,
for
that's true,
admission
yeah.
As opposed to any kind of
As opposed to a
donation.
tip,
Hopefully
basically.
right, and that's not, we weren't, I don't think, I wasn't intending to include donations for the band or something like that.
No.
More substantively is D, which the attempt here is to use a particular decibel level as a trigger. So this isn't the maximum that you're allowed to have in a special event. That's still set further down under requirements. What this is saying is, if you're using sound amplification that may exceed something like 70 decibels during the daytime or 55 during the nighttime, then that's a trigger for you need to have a sound plan. So that's not actually the maximum, that's the threshold for whether or not your event is going to be special and will need,
And so needing a sound plan means getting a permit.
yes.
You're right.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah.
Having a
Right.
sound plan is part of applying for a permit. That's the idea here.
Right,
And needing a sound plan it triggers the need for a permit.
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, the one I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so 70 is not the max, that's a little bit further down, but it is higher than the previous version, which was 60. And the feedback that we got was that 60 basically, 4 people talking loudly could be above 60.
Yeah.
And so that's too low to really even count as a threshold for needing a special event permit. The next line there, we've already gotten quite a bit of feedback
Yeah.
about, and I'll say, I'm not married to that. I can tell you how we got there, but I don't know if we need to. The idea behind there was that the town board could decide. The attempt here was some of the feedback about the thresholds, like 50 vehicles, 100 vehicles. Ted Crane said, well, what about 99? If it's 99 vehicles, then it's allowed. The idea here was if someone tried to say, we're not going to do a special permit because we're only expecting 99, then the town board could say, we still expect that to have, significant impact on traffic, parking, et cetera. That was sort of what I was throwing out there for how to close that loophole of having those numbers.
Yeah.
But
you saw Carthage.
Karthik's email, Steve also said, rightfully so, and Greg also pointed out that probably Guy will not approve of that
Yeah.
language,
I-
that it's just
yeah.
too broad, so.
Yeah. I think we should take
I'm
that
fine
out.
with John. I
Yeah,
can see how it's too flexible.
Yeah, what I was saying is that it might be unenforceable, a little bit
Huh.
squishy, it's just who determined, I mean.
yeah,
Word reasonably has some, roots in case law and all that, but yeah, it's probably just a little bit.
that's just
too
scary.
broad and
Yeah, it's too
vague.
scary.
This wasn't there before, right?
That was.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm
You think we can live without it?
comfortable getting rid of that, but I am curious if anybody wants to give any feedback on those other parts that I just talked about. The numbers, like the 50 vehicles on 1 acre, 100 vehicles on 1 or more.
Now, even 50 vehicles on an acre is a lot of cars.
Well, you can't get 50 acres on Carthix on Danby Food and Drink. I mean, if he's gonna have 50 cars over there, does that mean it's gonna be a special event? Well, I guess he can't.
It won't be on his property, so it'll be in the park or something. So, I mean,
Well, right, and Steve could also say, I guess they can't park on the street over there, but
right.
But they could here, and more to the point, I mean, you could park in the town
The
hall
park.
parking lot or the
park,
parking
that's right.
lot.
That's where we park.
Just down the street.
Say on a property, it doesn't say the property.
Right.
the event center,
Oh, that's true.
Right, so
Well-
Carthage, it could trigger Carthage if he's parking elsewhere, right?
Right.
Could you?
I don't know if
he has
properties,
50,
back
Well,
a little bit to-
that's interesting. I think the on a property is the event is on a property of less than 1 acre. I
So-
don't think it's supposed to be
On the
50
property,
vehicles are on the property. The event or gathering is on a property.
right,
That's unclear and so could be improved.
right.
I think the question is what,
More than 50 vehicles.
On a property, that's a full sense. See?
In terms of vehicles per on an acre, and I'm sorry, I didn't use the numbers, I counted up vehicles that we've had on our property at various times.
Mhm.
And the events we've had that have generated complaints have generally had about 200 cars. 200 to 220 cars.
Mhm.
The events that have had less than 150, we've never had any complaints from those events. And like those are like our Mondays and Thursdays where the band is either inside or on the patio. And so this would trigger those events, which are generally pretty quiet, pretty regular. Because it would use amplification that could exceed 70, even though I'll bet those events are less than 50 decibels at my border, they're quiet concerts. but the sound equipment could exceed 7. And
Hmm.
they'd be over 100. So for me, if that's at more than 150 vehicles on an acre, I would worry about the sound. Threshold. D, and vice versa, if D was changed, I would worry so much more. Those are just for my regular. Vehicles that aren't loud.
Hmm.
Then for Danby Food and Drink, that property is less than an acre, the parking doesn't occur on there, but.
Right.
Trying to think of how many cars, we did get feedback from Karthik, but he didn't talk about the number of vehicles.
Well, except they mentioned.
I mean, the other-
Actually, it might be more than, because it's on the same property as the apartment to the south.
Yeah. I mean, and this talks about vehicles on a property versus, I think in the past it was traffic. I think the word used was traffic generates, wasn't it?
This wording was pretty similar for the last years on.
I thought it said traffic. What did I do with it?
No, but that's actually, you know what I mean?
Traffic generation of more than. Those.
Well, I think we would reword it, because the intention is not that the vehicles are parked on the property.
Right.
The intention is the event is on a property of more and has 50 vehicles or more. So we can reword it so that it's clear that the on a property is supposed to be about the event. I'm sure we can come up with some magic phrasing for that.
Well, I'm not sure I'm catching what you're saying. We're saying that what we care about is whether there's more than 50 vehicles attracted or, you know, participating, and not whether they're all on the property or not.
Well, yeah, I think that's what.
Is that what you're
I think
saying?
that, well, that's one of the previous versions wordings,
Yeah,
that it generates a certain amount of traffic.
yeah,
And I-
Whether it's parking or, you know,
yeah. I mean, do you think that's, you think it's good? An appropriate measure?
I mean, traffic is one of the things that
Yeah.
is a
one thing to
problem for
concern,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think we would want to create someone could have.
It's a safety issue.
Different.
Yeah.
Then that wouldn't count. That's not what we're trying to do here.
Right.
So we can come up with language that just says.
Right.
Traffic generated or whatever.
Yeah.
Phrase.
I mean, you could put 100 cars in the parking, in the park.
Yeah. Parking.
Does that count for this? I mean, that's
Well, if we word it right, it does.
Right, if we switch it back to the language that you're referring
Something.
to.
okay.
Mhm.
Cars that are generated by the event, even if they're parking on a property next door, so.
Well, in that case, why does an acre matter?
Well, I think the smaller the property, the more likely it is that an event is going to impact neighbors. It's still not a perfect measure, but we're searching for measures.
Well, it increases safety issues and stuff. So.
Mhm.
Okay, so we gotta figure out.
If they have a, they have 1 acre property, what's that one there, within, short walking distance of a parking lot that will hold 200 cars. Is that a problem?
Well, then you got 400 people on a 1 acre property. So I think it still is relevant, the size of the property and the number of vehicles. Because yes, it's about safe parking, but then it's also about safe use of the humans once they get out of their cars.
So, yeah,
Could I walk on roads?
depends on the road. If you got 12-foot shoulders like this one, it's not a problem, but. But it might be on South Danby Road, say, there's no, shoulders as wide as a ditch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's parking room, I don't know, can people walk from the park to food and drink without walking on the road, that's fine.
You have to walk on the shoulder, yeah.
But the shoulders,
Or you can cut through
There's
there's a path. There's a path in the back, yeah.
It does seem to me like the acreage is more important with the parking, because that's where the cars are, getting cars off the road fast is.
Yeah.
the key, as long as there's plenty of space to park the cars, that seems safe, and if people want to walk on the road, that seems safe. Those are
Yeah.
safety concerns.
Mhm.
100 people on a 1 acre property. that doesn't necessarily seem unsafe, because that means this. And washing station, porta potties.
If you park in the park and walk through that path, you gotta watch for that tree. Jonathan took his head off, huh?
That brain.
Did you hit it? Oh, you cut it off?
No, it's,
Oh, good.
No longer have it.
Yeah.
I texted Karthik, he said his land is on the order of 2 acres,
Is it?
Is what?
2 acres.
Yeah, so it's more than
That
one.
sounds right, yeah.
So the intent here, well, the intent is to catch or accommodate large events that are not currently allowed, and to trigger the need for a permit in order to make sure that they adequately address the health and safety issue. And how is that best accomplished here with? Does this do it as the trigger?
I kind of, in the BA, I don't know, there's that or other similar event thing. I mean,
B,
Any-
A, the exemption.
Scroll down.
BA,
B.
following shall not be considered a special event for the purposes of this law. And then it just, a wedding, family gathering, holiday party, religious celebration and function, graduation party, or other similar event. I mean,
Okay,
so you could have,
uses similar to.
So can I have
you could have 200
600
people,
people
right?
at a graduation party?
Yeah,
With
so long
music
as
and bands?
well, so long as it didn't go past 9 and didn't, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, it happens.
my neighbor's done that.
Yeah,
The assumption is if they are not making money off of it and it's genuinely a wedding or a family gathering, we are gonna rely on residents to take the proper precautions. Because there isn't sort of a, profit motive of trying to,
Right.
make money by cutting corners. It's a wedding. You're gonna make sure there's enough porta potties and safe parking. We're not trying to include private events like that in this special permit.
those are customary residential activity, we're basically saying.
and decibel levels don't apply.
Okay, occurring on private property.
No,
Okay, then yes,
And I
that
did-
is how this works.
I remember why you asked about the health department, if like sanitary facilities for somebody having a 500-person graduation party. Their threshold is 5,000 people to mass gathering.
Right,
The only event they have that triggers that is Ithaca Festival, or event grassroots.
grassroots, yeah.
So there's a very, very high bar for needing health department approved sanitary facilities.
5,000 people want a porta potty?
And then when you get to that trigger, that's heavy duty requirements that you have to meet.
Okay, so Steve and Danby Food and Drink, sorry, the cidery and Danby Food and Drink are commercial. They're commercial.
Yeah. So
I don't know,
agricultural commerce.
I don't know, the cidery commercial?
Well,
It's
it's agriculture, but it's also commercial, it's,
Yeah, agriculture is a form of commerce.
yeah, because we are performing commerce, yeah.
It's like a Venn diagram, yeah, there's.
They
Okay,
overlap.
okay, so this wouldn't, we're not talking about commercial.
We are talking about commercial. There's no exemption for commercial events.
Are you saying, can I make a little comment?
Sure.
It's about kind of reinforcing what Mark was saying about, weddings, stuff like that. They could be on that scale. But I think what we're concerned about here are industries that might grow up and have oversized impacts, like music festivals,
Yeah.
my business, things like that. Where our wedding's a problem, our graduation's a problem, like, if those are persistently major problems, I think we need to be concerned about. If they haven't been major concerns for the town, I don't see why we have to be worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what if somebody wants to have a graduation party at South Hill Cider or over here?
Well, that would be no problem.
Well, is that considered private property?
But
Oh, I don't think that.
but it's not, there's no fee. Wouldn't think there's a fee.
mean,
Unless-
it's kind of,
Unless Danby Food and Drink or Southwest Cider are hosting it for free.
okay,
Right, that would be regulated.
Yeah, would be included. So, I mean, if you try, if you turn yourself into an
No, it
event,
wouldn't
then
be
you,
included in a special event.
it would not, or wouldn't it? Would.
I mean,
It's a graduation party, or it's a wedding.
on private property.
occurring on private property where the property owner receives no payment or for hosting the event and collects no fee. So with, if Danby Food and Drink, Southwest Cider, EFW,
Right,
you know, had a free, they're hosting somebody's wedding for free.
Yeah, no,
And I can guarantee we can't host.
Yeah, I just don't see that would.
you don't think the cider sales would float the boat, huh?
Yeah, maybe if my son gets married.
Right, I was gonna say,
You know.
if your family member does it, then you wouldn't charge them, and then it would be an event that would be exempt.
But I can put it on my property for the cider.
You could say, I mean, just to clarify this, and you
Right.
could just add in very simple extra words of where the property is primarily being used for residences, for residential purposes, and receives no payment. So if that would sort of assuage that concern that a commercial property could host a free for service wedding and then for all these people and then be exempt. It's just simply making it clear that it's for residential property, that these types of non-commercial gatherings are exempt.
Yeah, I think the probability that Carthag's gonna have any wedding receptions is pretty slim, but
I'm sorry, what?
the Danby Food and Drink would have any of these kind of events is pretty slim, given the size of the facility, but we're not looking at just that, we're looking to the future possibilities, you know.
So if if Danby Food and Drink and South Hill Cider wanted to have a small a guitar with an amplifier, they would have to get a permit if it was past 9 o'clock.
If they're gonna have more than 100 vehicles. And if it's more than 8 hours, or if it's past 9 o'clock, or if they're charging a fee. Or if they're using sound amplification that can go over 70 decibels.
That's what I'm saying, me and Carter would both be caught in this for our regular, like, small
Right.
weekday events.
Do you have any suggestions for?
Yeah,
how to improve that?
Change it to 150 or 180 cars on. Over an acre.
Oh, I actually, so, okay, we heard that. Do you have any suggestions for changes to the sound amplification one, or you're saying to leave that but increase the vehicles?
I wouldn't worry about it if the cars were increased or if D was changed.
Yeah.
Like if I actually, in my comment I wrote to the board, I could read it, I specifically addressed comment D or line D.
Just want to be sure that folks online, I'll just put this.
Thank you. Section
That
two
was what-
D, in my written comment, I recommended changing it to that if it exceeds 70 decibel or even 65 or whatever the other one is. Because just saying that it utilizes amplification and
right, that is kind of weird, I
exceeds
think.
70 decibels is a problem because quality sound equipment can often go quite a bit higher than where it's normally used. And it would make even a moderately quiet performance using a standard PA system at low volume, but has a good turnout with more than 100 cars.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think we can use exceeds 70 decibels as a trigger.
No, I-
Exceeds is describing something that's already happened. So like, this is when you're planning an event, this is how you know whether it's a special event or not. And so I'm trying to talk about what kind of sound amplification, because
Right,
you know
could
that you're
exceed,
using.
yeah.
But if it just said, or sound will exceed, you can say, I don't need that, my sound will not exceed. So like, I'm trying to fish for something.
So I have two caveats, that one is, if the cars was just increased, that would do it, and that doesn't increase the. Safe, or the lack of safety, at least in my sense, they park, they don't walk on the road, so. 100 cars, 200 cars does not impact the safety of the neighborhood, but then also with the sound amplification thing. I think it's these regular events that have become the problem. So maybe it's not so dangerous saying that if an event exceeds a certain decibel limit or will likely exceed a certain decibel limit. Because if there's one event that goes over the limit, well, then obviously the next week's event would qualify. Rather than just saying it's using amplification that could exceed 70 decibels.
So will.
I'm not sure if I'm
likely is
being really
different,
clear there. So I think it's the regular events that we're really concerned about. So if one triggers it, all of a sudden they're clearly out of bounds. But you're right, it would give them, you know, one time. Would have to prove that it did exceed that.
So I mean, I'm not sure that the language that you put in here, Mark, isn't, just because it can be read to mean that it chooses amplification that may exceed 70 decibels.
Right.
Means that they, what in use, it may exceed 70 decibels. At least you can read it that way, as opposed to it could, but probably won't,
Instead of that may exceed or.
So to make it clear, there's nothing about,
mean,
capable of exceeding, you mean they may
Yeah.
use exceed.
Yeah.
But were you suggesting in your change here exceed 70 decibels, because it starts in the middle of the sentence, you're saying utilize a sound amplification that exceeds
Yeah.
70 decibels?
Yeah.
Is that?
Or
mean, it's-
65, or,
Yeah.
whatever, I don't know how you came up with 70. But if you had an event that does exceed, if you think your event will exceed
That's what I'm going for.
5 decibels or whatever,
Mhm.
because otherwise you're regulating people's equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just
That is
is
kind of
really
weird.
odd, because really like one guitar amplifier might exceed that and
Mhm.
not be a problem. A whole big PA system could exceed that and not be a problem.
On one hand, I agree with
Could you say that will exceed?
What's that?
Utilize the sound amplification. Yeah,
Or
that will exceed.
That has exceeded,
Well, you're looking ahead, you're saying, we're planning on exceeding 70 decibels of this event. And we're gonna,
Use of
mitigate it by having it way back in the property or whatever.
use of amplification exceeding 70 decibels. I mean, in some ways, to me, it's like if you're gonna have a problem if you've got a parking lot that can hold 300 cars, it's gonna exceed, it's not,
Mhm.
I guess.
I mean, so you'd have to have equipment that only goes up a certain, I mean, that's just kind of weird to me, but I thought that in the first round that may exceed using sound amplification that may potentially
Well, you're talking
exceed the
equipment.
sound limit, huh?
You're talking equipment, and you say
Yeah,
that.
and like I said, I don't have a major problem with it if the car parking is changed. Just because I know that a lot of my like regular small weekly events that don't have a large impact.
Right.
Would be caught in this, and I don't think that's what you're trying to catch in. You're trying to regulate the loud Friday night concerts.
I guess my concern here is that we're working with you and your situation. We don't have your neighbors here. And I wonder if this would be better to have some kind of task force where you and the neighbors talk about this with some people from the board. You're kind of talking, I just don't want this special event law to be, here's how the cidery can. I mean, I like music. I like going out to some music. I want there to be music, but I also understand that the neighbors
Yeah.
also want to be heard.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, this is a public meeting. Anybody's welcome.
Right.
These drafts have been
Some of them
shared
are-
over.
I know, I
and
see
over again.
Hunter was on here. I
I
don't know.
also have done some outreach to some of the neighbors and said, do you want to sit down and talk about it? I have not gotten positive
Yeah.
answers to that.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying about creating a task force. Realistically, anything like that is gonna mean basically starting over.
Yeah.
And we won't have anything,
Okay.
which means that like the neighbors have no protection from loud noise and Steve has no, and Karthik have no. We would just be putting this off by a very long time, I think.
Okay.
That's my main, I don't think it's the
Yeah.
wrong way to go. In some ways, I think maybe it should have been, would have been the right way to start the process.
Yeah.
With a forum, with a committee or whatever, but
Well, it
rather
did.
than just reach out and give feedback now. just
That's how it
because I do
did start. That's how it did start.
All right.
So
It was a
one
committee.
small point, Mr. Mariah, I know, I am the one that's here, and so it seems like we're working with South Side, we're talking about Karthik. But like, I feel like these are data points, and there are no other data points to look at, and so. I just wanna let you guys know, I'm concerned about this, not just for my business, I've made comments that would affect. The future, other businesses that wanna operate in this town as well. So-
Sure.
Yeah. I personally, and I can't speak for everybody else, I am not sitting here thinking about this and planning on, writing this so that Steve can do his stuff. We've got examples of businesses, whether it's Steve's business or Karthik's business, or I don't know, American Legion, or there are people who are, trying to make money and have events and do something interesting. And they're all caught in this. And I find it helpful to hear what repercussions are for whoever shows up. Karthik has written stuff. I would like to kill the notion that the town board is writing this so that Steve Seelan can have loud, crazy parties. I just want that to stop. I'm tired of it. That's not why I'm here. And I find it interesting to read whatever feedback people have. And it is a public meeting and anybody could have come.
And actually on that, Leslie and Cindy reminded me, Karthik did email
Yeah.
everyone today. He did
Yeah.
ask for his comments to be read aloud.
He did one red.
Happy to do that if you'd like.
He
Yeah,
did, he was, in lieu of privilege of the floor, but there's a lot more than
Right.
3 minutes worth of comments in his email.
it's pretty
Well, I
long.
will say the second of the comments was already addressed, which is that sort of arbitrary kind of statement
Yeah.
in the beginning, so
Yeah.
maybe I could.
You want to read it?
Sure, I'll just kind of sort of breeze through it and I'll kind of skip that second one because it's about the squishy sort of one at the beginning, but.
Yeah.
Just at High Town Board, I'd like to submit the following comments in the draft special events law that we discussed tonight. He can't be here. My comments here are primarily based on my experience and perspective as the owner of Danby Food and Drink. I expect others will have varying valid perspectives that may counter mine here. That's the first comment. Again, the second one is about the vague comment. I'm going to skip that one because it sounds like there's consensus just to remove that. Number 3, it would be nice if there was an easier and more expedient way for a special event permit as defined to be applied for. Again, speaking only for our business, the 2-month lead time can be prohibitive in many cases. Small businesses already have a mountain of work for every fun event that the community gets to experience. The addition of the requirements I'm reading here could be almost prohibitive enough to force us to cancel any special events. And then 4th, notwithstanding my comments in number 1 above, I want to state for the record that the concerts at South Hill Cider bring me as a consumer tremendous joy. They're true celebrations of community, wonderful locally sourced food and drink, and the arts. I feel devastated to learn that we may not experience these shows again in the future. Just from the consumer's perspective, I'm concerned that this special events law would put a permanent end to those concerts as well. I'd love to see a way for their events to be supported or exempted somehow through this process.
And I would say that, our intention was never to catch regular small events. We're trying to enable special events, the ones that are already, that we have got no provision for in our zoning.
Right.
And we'd like to enable them to happen. In the course of doing it, we're sort of at the same time determining what are these large events?
That's acceptable.
What's the threshold? And everything below that threshold is by, so then essentially being defined as also okay, that's customary customary residential, customary commercial, where they have commercial businesses, it's part of what the business does, if you have a food and drink and your food and drink has entertainment, then that's kind of what place does. And it's also true that coming into this, as Ag and Markets recognizes some pretty large events, festivals level events, as being acceptable agricultural activity. So they're already, because agricultural use is permitted in our zoning, they're already allowed in the ag zone, in R1 and R2. They're not allowed anywhere else except in as part of an agricultural use. We're trying to make it possible for them to occur elsewhere. At the same time, when they happen and where they're already allowed, it will now require a permit for them when they reach the threshold. Yeah. But we're making it actually harder for the agricultural activities because they're gonna have to now get a permit where they're doing it now without one.
Yeah.
So to come back to it though,
What was one of the things Karthik said about, making it shorter, making it easier, the permitting thing? That was one of the things I was wondering if there's any way to.
well, we already did that. I mean, it's up to
It'd be nice, at least 3 weeks in advance.
I wanted just to hear what you were in the middle of a sentence. I just wanted to hear what you.
Yeah, I mean, the permit obtained the Board of Appeals at least 3 weeks in advance. It's recommended applied at least 2 months in advance. The other thing, the thing that came to mind when I first read that was, that's a long time. What about a special event that may draw 500 people because somebody's house burnt down and somebody's organizing a music thing to raise some funds for them, and that 2 months in advance is not going to work. Is there a way to cut it for,
Actually, and that brings me to a comment that a planning board member made, because the planning board reviewed this, I want to put that too out there.
Yes.
On the record that we were asked, or someone asked the planning board review it, Board of Zoning Appeals review it, planning board did review it, and it's going to the BZA next week to review, because they are the ones that would be reviewing and approving these or denying these permits. They meet once a month as needed on the 4th Tuesday of every month. I always ask people to get applications in 3 weeks in advance.
Right.
That 2-month time actually could be cut down to just 1 month. And here's how it go. Because one of the comments from the planning board was, shouldn't there be a public hearing or a mailer required? There's nothing in the law that talks about neighbors being notified. So typically, a public hearing would be set and then it's scheduled for the next month. But in this instance, the law could reflect that it's still going to the Board of Zoning Appeals. You should still submit it 3 weeks in advance of when you want the permit approved, at least. But it can be done that night. That if I get an application, or the town clerk gets an application for a special event, and we're going to schedule for the Board of Zoning Appeals, we could do the legwork in advance and send out a mailer for that review, so that neighbors are notified before that meeting. And then if the Board of Zoning Appeals needs to take another month, let's say it's not clear. This often happens, is that people have expectations of getting their project approved in a certain month, but sometimes the planning board of the BZA just needs a little bit more information from the applicant, so they have to continue to the next meeting. When you look at the requirements for these permits, needing input from, or having a plan about EMS, fire, having sanitary facilities, I guess that there's just a lot of legwork that people do need to do in order to then be prepared to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals saying, I've checked all the boxes, here's the letter from the fire department, here's here's my plan. So it's conceivable that it could happen in one meeting, and they're in and out. Public hearing is scheduled, it's held, they're done. But it's also very possible that the Board of Zoning Appeals is gonna say,
Yeah.
you've got half of the things that we need to review, we need these other, we need, has the fire chief been notified?
Right.
Has, so. It's possible,
It
and
all depends.
it all depends,
Yeah.
right? Because if,
It's pretty hard to plan with that kind of, you don't have. I mean, it's written the way it is now with some assurance that if you do it 2 months ahead, you'll get your permit in time for something that you plan on a certain date. The other way is like, well, I can't really schedule my event until I apply for the permit and have it approved. Right?
right,
Yeah.
For a large event like festivals, that's.
A festival, that's a different thing.
And that's kind of what we were looking for.
Little medium, right, that's why it's more important to not catch these little weeklies. In my opinion.
Yeah, it's not intended for that. It's
Yeah.
intended for festival scale stuff.
Catherine has her. hand
Catherine has her hand up. Catherine, would you like to speak?
I am a bit uncomfortable speaking because of this subject. You all know what I have said and how I feel, and in our neighborhood. And unfortunately, my understanding was this is a board meeting, and I did not hear that Steve was on the agenda to speak. And I also am concerned because I think that this special event law is not working and it needs to be tabled. And I don't know what the right answer is, but I do not think this is. The number of cars, I understand a lot of what you were saying, Mark, but there's too many loopholes by saying on the property. And then I hear you say, yes, well, what if they're in the park or what if they're along the road? And there's just a lot of issues. And I'm really uncomfortable. I'm sorry I wasn't ready for speaking, but I just can't not say something. Sorry. Just feels, I don't like this. Sorry. That's all for now.
I would point out at the bottom of the agenda for each meeting, there's a statement about the public has a right to attend and observe. Comments may be allowed at other times during the meeting, but only if a person wishing to speak is recognized by the chair, which I did for Steve.
Okay, I heard you just say comments. I did not hear interaction for 15 minutes or whatever it is. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
We could continue going over other sections that we haven't gotten to yet, or we could move on to the topic.
Are there any other,
I personally think that we're not too far,
I mean,
but we are sort of hung up on the one point. So I mean, discerning a
there's a
way
point,
forward.
yeah.
What other, did you have in mind?
Well, there are other changes in the
Yeah.
draft that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at them. Let's see whether we can agreement on that.
They're in sections 3 and 4. There we
Yeah.
go. That first one is the total number of days permitted for special events cannot exceed 6. So we're not talking about 100 like we were previously, or
Right.
even 30. This is really
Right.
6 days in the whole year. So it's, it is worth thinking. I may not like everything in here, but could I live with it for 6 days out of the entire year? And the rest of the year is great. Maybe people need to start sort of thinking, is this something I can live with? Not, do I love every part of it? Because
Right.
it's pretty limited.
Right. The only question here, and maybe Greg could comment on this, is whether ag and markets would regard 6 as a reasonable number.
Yeah.
Because they were, they expressed concern about 4.
Yeah.
yeah, and I was hoping to hear from them today, but in my phone call with the counter person that I've been talking with about this, they felt that 6 is probably too low. But they review everything case by case, and so they just don't have a hard and fast number. And I'm like really trying to pull at them for just, it's a number that you're okay with. I mean, the worst case scenario is the town just sets a number, and then if a farm operator feels that it's unreasonably restrictive, they could submit it to them for review, then take months, and then the ag and markets would write back to the town saying you should modify this, and then the town could revisit it. A worst case scenario.
I think what they're concerned about, and I would share the concern, is that, when we had it 4, but we had also provision that it could include a series.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining things like a fall festival like thing, like a pumpkin fest or something, or an apple fest. The one event could be several days. And you could use up your whole annual allotment by having, in the one event, and then you got nothing
Oh,
left for the
right.
rest of the year.
Yeah.
Is there some way we could accommodate that kind of thing? Where basically it's one event, but spread over several days. This limits you to the number of days in a year, period.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we can definitely, keep kicking around. We could either just increase that number. I think if we go back to including series, then we're gonna end up getting pushed back that that's too many, or how many can be in a series. So it's back and forth.
Yes, and it's true, and yeah, and
Just to
I
finish
agree.
the point, and realistically, if a farm around here is having a farm festival, they really going to exceed 6 days and then also have other events? I just don't know, like, currently, is there anybody who's doing that?
Not
who
right
will
now,
actually exceeding?
but there's been talk, it's one of those things that there are people with, that have bought property, I think with the notation, the thinking about, doing something like the pumpkin farm down in Canada.
Yeah,
And that
Iron Kettle.
they might have,
Music.
300 cars, over a weekend, 3, 4 times a year. I mean, are we not wanting to make it so that can happen? I mean,
Yeah, the fall
we
pumpkin
ride
thing lasts,
them, huh?
the fall pumpkin thing lasts for quite a while.
Yeah,
Like a month.
yeah. Well, it doesn't, I mean, it can be, the event could be
Mhm.
2 days,
And I know that
4 hours each day, or,
was it Jessica Schoenberg or whatever the name is, the Sapansky farm,
right,
aspired to have,
right.
you know,
That's what I was thinking of.
maybe a strawberry thing and then
Right.
a corn thing and then,
But
a pumpkin
they
thing.
actually could have. They could have that. The only, it could be 8 hours. It just has to be
Right.
done by 9 PM. They could even charge for, no, I guess if they charge for admission, then it would make it special.
Mhm.
Right.
But if you're just using it to get people there, you're
If you're not charging for it.
not
then
charging
you're
for,
not hosting a band.
yeah, right.
If you're not charging for admission.
Yeah.
And it's just during daytime hours, then it's not a special event.
Right.
That's a good point.
It would mean that they would not be able to have a loud band without applying for a permit. That doesn't
Right.
sound that wrong to me, though.
You're right,
Doing that
So they
6
just
days
couldn't,
worth
they
of
couldn't
bands.
charge people admission.
right. So to your point, I mean, we could put it in, and then if it becomes a problem that somebody who's a farmer thinks that this is ridiculous, I can't do what I want to do, we could always adjust it if ag and markets checks. Okay,
Yeah, I wanted to point out that if a series was in that language, that having to go through the BZA, the application process, would give the town the ability to look like, okay, is this a one-off event where we could let this impact happen? Oh, is this a weekly event? Well, then we want to make sure, you know what I mean, that the impacts are very low. So that kind of fluidity is already built into this. So if a series was included in that number, it's safe because the safeguards are already there. Because in order to get the permit, they're gonna consider, is this a one-off or is this a series?
yeah, but it really ought to be a one-off though, because I mean, if otherwise, if the point was made by somebody, I don't remember who it was, commented, said, if you're gonna do this 100 days a year, it's not a special event anymore, it's a regular event. There's nothing special about it.
Yeah.
We're really trying to focus on what is the special, extraordinary, out of the ordinary, and what that means, the one-offs, or
And
only
I think
few
it's
offs.
important to set that bar really high, to where you consider something special event, right?
Yeah, well, that's the discussion is where should that level, when does it become extraordinary? Because by extension, it doesn't hit the bar, it's ordinary.
Just to go back to the outline, it's just not that much more.
Yes.
So see in here, this is where we actually are putting a maximum level of decibels. And that's a little bit higher than it was before from the feedback. And then section 4 is new, and the idea, and we just got so much feedback
Yeah.
about how to measure sound, how to measure fairly, and what kinds of things, and because now we have decibels in the trigger up at the top and decibels in section 3, I didn't think it made sense to keep repeating things, so I added a section that just put together input from Warren, input from Ted, and various other sort of, where we're monitoring, how we're monitoring. We can talk about it in detail if we want. I'm not sure if there's interest in it, but I just wanted to point it out because that was a significant change.
Yes, what is 10-minute equivalent continuous sound level?
That was something that Warren suggested, and basically he's saying it's the decibel level, it's not about a peak, right? So if there's music on or someone's just speaking, it's constantly like this.
Yes.
If we didn't have a 10-minute equivalent continuous sound level, then the decibels hitting that peak one time for 1 second would be a violation. What he's saying here is it's a 10-minute average. In a 10-minute period, if the average is above that, then you've reached a violation. So he's basically saying sound does this a lot, and we shouldn't sort of like
That 1 second.
I'm not saying you're right.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, no, you've explained it.
Yeah.
So he said, this is common in these types of laws, LEQ 10 or 15. It's just a way to like make it a little bit more fair and reasonable, I think.
So like gunfire, which would, exceed, but
Not
maybe
for long.
put over a 10-minute period. There's only one of them, is that once every 10 minutes is okay?
I think it's an average over 10 minutes. So if that one gunshot was loud enough, then the average still might be over it, but this is not intended to include those single things like shooting a cannon. This is intended to capture amplified music or speaking.
Yeah, but the sound level varies.
Yeah,
There's a crescendo, but the orchestra.
because he gave a very technical answer and included a link to a YouTube video, and I did watch some of that.
Peak measurement shall not be used as the basis.
That was in line with his recommendation.
Yeah, which means, single gunshot. And that'd probably be okay. Something when it becomes a bunch of them, that it becomes problematic. I mean, we people do target practice, whatever, it's no problem. So you invite your friends over and you all do it.
If you have 100 vehicles, everybody's doing target practice.
But it's free.
But if it's free.
Yeah,
But if someone's shooting a gun at a concert, that's a different one. That's what.
well, yes, that's a different problem for sure, yes.
For many reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could have a potato farm shooting.
Oh, but yeah.
But put it back.
How about a
About the
pellet
comment
gun?
on the second
Huh.
one here. The sound level shall be measured at the property line.
I know, that's kind of,
Well, I mean, my concern about it, where in cases where an adjacent property is separated by a street, the sound level is measured at the property line of the special event property. The property line, in many cases, is the middle of the road.
This came from Guy. This is Guy's language.
Yeah.
Talk to Guy.
I added that in there as, I think because it was a question from him of which property line, what if there's a separating the street? You bring up when the property line is in the middle of the road, like it often is.
Yeah, and I made a suggestion, which is simply to measure from the shoulder on the event side.
I mean, that particular point, I'm fine if there's one to add.
That was my suggested different way of addressing now, because otherwise you're talking about measuring it in the middle of the road.
Hmm.
My last comment in my written submitted comments was directly about this one, and it said that I recommend using the property line of the nearest resident. Whether it's on the event side of the line or not is not my point. My point is that if we have a 600-acre field as one of the property owners, that would be the better, people have suggested that's the place where the sound should go. So if it was saying that it's measured at the property line of the nearest residence, I'm guessing I won't be the first, the last property to figure out where to put noise. And if you could put it at the edge that's farthest from the neighbors, that's advantageous.
Yeah, and of course, Ted comments spoke to that. How far it is from the property line, where it originates, it makes a difference whether it originates at or near the property line or whether it's a couple hundred feet back.
Right.
In terms of what the impact is 50 feet beyond property line. And he suggested dealing with that by at the option of the impacted property, measuring it either at the property line or 50 feet back. Whichever one is more objectionable to you, I suppose.
I mean, if the generator of the sound is, a quarter of a mile from the property line, at the property line, it's not going to measure very high, right?
And if it does, then you have a real problem because it's going to be just as loud 50 feet beyond it as it is at the property line. That's the point of his comment, and is that it makes a difference how far back it is. I mean, you can hear the train whistle on this side of the hill 4 miles away. Yeah.
I can hear the train rumbling.
Yeah. So it's not
The suggestion would be to say all property lines. Because it's not just about residences, but
yeah.
I mean, thinking about
Yeah.
there might be a park or preserve, hiking trail that people just don't want to be impacted by this noise, at least egregiously. I think they're saying should be measured at all property lines of property. Basically just, or ensuring that the noise level doesn't exceed any of the property lines.
I think that's what it's written.
Essentially, it doesn't say it's anything about residential currently.
And so I guess I was asking for the opposite, suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tend towards keeping it simple in terms of any kind of property, partially because I don't really think it makes sense for us as a board to decide that people don't have a right to privacy in their fields in the same way that they do in their homes. That feels like a distinction that the town board shouldn't be making for people. We're just saying you have a right to a certain level of privacy on your property, period.
Right.
And this is what the level is.
Yeah.
That feels more clean to me.
It does to me as well. Peace and quiet.
Yeah.
It's in the law, quiet enjoyment. It's what you have a right to. And that could be anywhere on your property, not just around your house.
Yeah.
You go in your house, close the windows.
My experience where I can make it quieter by pointing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, not that would be a good thing to do, but.
Right.
And ultimately, we're writing a law and hopefully we'll pass it, and then people are gonna hold the events they're gonna have, they'll put their speakers in the right way, and hopefully this law can help avoid some, I wouldn't guess all, but some of the issues over noise.
Yeah.
I don't feel like our standard should be perfection just because we never.
Right, not to mention that we probably do need a noise law in addition too. This is addresses noise as part of the special event context, but it's only a limited addressing of the issue. So, so I don't have any problem with this part at all.
Maybe this is a good time, I don't know how many other things we have on the agenda, just to say.
Yeah, is there anything else that we didn't miss that?
There's no other
changes, right?
No.
Okay, so before we go on from it, what are we gonna do with it?
Well, I mean, there were some suggestions. It sounded like maybe there might be a few tweaks to it.
Which tweaks by whom and And then what?
Well, Mark,
I mean,
Mark will
I've
do it.
been fine, I'm happy to continue making the revisions and sharing it as I do them.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greg is awesome. We've kind of been doing it side by side. I did these last couple. I'm happy to continue sort of checking in and kind of come up with another draft.
Yeah.
Ideally, if we don't have a special meeting in between, I'll try to get to it so that it's not up the day before. And
Well, if we have a special
then it'll be
meeting.
ready for us to, vote on in the next 2 weeks, maybe.
bring it
Vote
back.
back for,
Vote on to send it for a public hearing.
Public hearing.
That was a
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah,
It would be a vote in order for us to decide to send it to public hearing, that's what I meant.
Yeah, right.
because I think then, we're still waiting for Warren. I
Yeah.
think he had sent him a last email of just checking out these changes, but he said he had a very busy week this week. And then, maybe we get some feedback from ag markets, if that makes a difference at this point, but I think it still is worth, to get there in either way. Yeah, so I support it, just bringing it back for discussion one more
Yeah.
time before he's sending it.
and then maybe set a public hearing for,
Well, the trouble is, if we're gonna put it in the newsletter, we're talking then about bring out another month.
yeah.
But-
Well, give people enough time to look at it and think about situations.
Right, I mean, we would have to have dealt with this.
What's that?
Give them enough time to shove in the pitchforks.
Yes, right.
Um,
I mean, we would have, if we wanted to put anything in the newsletter, we'd have to decide about it tonight, otherwise we're looking at the following one. If we want, which we usually, that has been our practice in order to give people an opportunity to,
Maybe we can put something in the newsletter that says we're hoping to.
yeah, we could do
Put it
that,
on the website
Yeah.
for a final date, or something like that, sending some changes.
yeah. We could do that. Okay, good. So you will work on it and we'll bring it back. So bring it back next time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We have had a resignation from the planning board. Scott Davis. So there's a vacancy. I think we should advertise the vacancy in the newsletter and.
Yeah.
And see if we can't get some people interested in serving. What kind of timeline do you think we should give you?
well, once in, oh, you mean for,
Well, the newsletter's gonna come out, around the beginning of May.
mid-May?
Our first,
Was it Pacific, Austin?
it was talk of it, but she ended up not doing it.
It was, okay.
No,
She's
no.
on a CNC at this point.
yeah,
So we don't
but
have,
she knows that there's an opening.
yeah,
Yeah,
Remember she was-
yeah,
she could apply.
I assume she will,
She might well.
unless she really likes the CAC.
We really like having her on.
I know.
Can they be compatible positions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not, if somebody's got the.
She could do both?
yeah, I don't think there's any
Oh.
compatibility.
Right, yeah, no, they're not.
Oh,
The only
I don't
thing
know that she's not
possibly
into.
is that sometimes especially the town passed that policy last year about the CAC weighing in on development applications.
True.
yeah,
So if they are
Right.
providing an advisory opinion to the planning board, and then planning board members will be voting on it.
yeah,
Maybe they recuse themselves just somewhere in.
Maybe they would refuse themselves in that
Yeah.
event.
Either from the CAC, yeah,
yeah,
I think recuse would probably cover it.
One way or the other,
Right.
yeah. But I don't think it's inherently, there's an inherent incompatibility. If somebody wanted to serve in both capacities, it's only whether they have the bandwidth to do both.
okay, well, let's see if she,
Yeah.
I assume she'll,
So anyway, should we give people, well, we can announce it in the newsletter and it'd be nice to have, responses back and maybe make the appointment of the second meeting in May.
does that give enough time?
Well, it gives about,
Oh, we do
it
interviews,
gives a couple of weeks.
we might want to.
Can
do
we get it in the
interviews.
newsletter?
That's what, yeah, he's
That's what I'm
talking.
saying,
put it in the newsletter,
announcing in the newsletter that we've got a vacancy.
On the
If
website,
you're interested,
I think you
submit
gotta
an
get it.
application's on the website. You've got until the 15th of May to submit. We'd like to have applications by the 15th, so we can consider.
yeah, that's 2
Thank you.
weeks, right, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a full 2 weeks. maybe a little bit more depending on when the newsletter comes out, sometimes a little before the 1st, but it's a full 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then you can always, if nobody applies, then we can say, well, nobody applied, you
Yeah.
still can,
Okay,
but in the interest of not leaving it vacant for, extended period.
I'm hopeful that we can get a couple of applicants,
yeah,
Yeah, me too.
because there might be someone else who might be
Sure,
willing to step back.
yeah. And also, do we want to interview them?
yeah,
Yeah, okay, so again. if
it could be
they're-
this second meeting in May
Yeah,
that we could plan on interviewing.
agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so all those things then. I don't know if we want to formalize it with a vote, but. The game plan need not be formally adopted. We'll announce the vacancy and ask people to submit their applications by the 15th so they can be interviewed and considered for appointment on the 19th.
20th?
Okay. We have only one proposal for mowing.
Oh, no. Is
Is
it
that-
our,
Is that our piece?
Yeah.
Yeah. From Archivon Landscaping, who did our mowing last year. I had another person with whom I had several email correspondences where he asked me questions, I answered it, and I sent the guidelines and all the rest of it. But then their company is being reorganized and they didn't get their act together to submit a proposal. Fortunately, Archivon Landscaping, this year's proposal is 5%, just shy of 5% more than it was last year. Considering what's happened to the price of gas.
I know,
I think that's a pretty good deal. And he didn't raise the prices last year,
no,
so
what kind of, did he?
Yeah.
Was everybody happy with the job he did?
I think, yes. No, I thought he did a great job.
Sometimes we've noticed. How about the time somebody mowed the wrong cemetery?
That was 2 times ago.
Bad.
That was Grant Wilbur's misunderstanding regarding,
It was so, I mean, he
Yeah.
was very good natured about it, but it was.
yes, and was, but it was a lot more cemetery that he didn't have to mow too. And he didn't get the Peter Road Cemetery mowed.
No.
So anyway, I move that we approve the contract to Archivon Landscaping for the 2026 mowing season.
Is this his thing?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
This is in the meeting folder, by the way.
Is it in the mail? I can't get into my email right now. Friday, hopefully I will.
Yeah, let me get that fixed. I put it in the meeting folder, but I didn't link it to the agenda. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion.
Connor,
Yes.
Dylan. Yes. Larkin,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Gagnon,
Yes,
motion passes.
I'll move to give ourselves 5 more minutes. Yeah, these,
Thank you, sir.
you might be able to get it done in 2 minutes. No, Watson's actually said 58.
Yes.
We have 2 requests to use the town hall.
We need 5 minutes. We need to-
Oh, yeah, second.
Well,
A
I'm
second.
thinking we might be able to get it done. Well,
I think we should,
Okay.
Yeah.
let's see if we can do it.
We have 2 requests to use the town hall meeting room. One from Stevie Shalloway for a writing group, and the other one's from the resiliency group. And both of them we use. So I move we approve those uses,
You move what?
that we approve those uses.
I mean, the one, okay, I'll second that.
Okay,
So then we can
Yeah,
talk
back
about
up.
it.
Just seconded it, yeah, exactly.
Oh, you seconded it? I didn't
heard
hear
it.
you.
He said it first. Sorry. Said it
I
first.
didn't hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure that they don't conflict with the kids, the after school program, or any other meetings.
yeah, any of these things are subject to availability.
Well, I mean, the thing that's different about both of these requests is that they're for a regular day
Yes,
every week or twice a month,
right,
which is not something we've really gotten into before,
true,
with the exception of the kids.
yeah. Right.
So I mean, I think we need to think about it. I mean, not that I want to say no to either of these groups, but I mean, you know, what kind of
Yeah.
constraints, or what if we need to have a special meeting? Are we gonna have to say, whoop, we can't do that because I don't know, poetry group's gonna have the room, or, you know, I just wonder, I wonder what kind of issues will come up. Cause it's it's not just a one-off thing, which is
Right.
what they've all been.
They have been, well, although we did allow for like CSI to come back periodically.
Yeah, they come once a
We
year.
got this list, you know.
That's different than, can we use the building once every 2 weeks?
It's true,
Or
it's true.
every Wednesday?
Right, right.
That's, that could be a problem.
Conceivably, we might feel somewhat constrained, although we do tell people that it's subject to, you know, availability. So if we,
Could we try it and communicate to Blake that maybe we'll, you know, to communicate to them, like to relay to them that like, this is the first time we've granted a weekly use.
Mhm.
We're gonna try it for a couple months, but, you know, we may come back to you and say we can't.
Well,
do
yeah, I
this
mean,
for-
the other thing is who takes precedent. I mean, if we need to have a meeting to do
whatever,
credit card bills, you know, and people are wedded to making sure that it can be, you know, zoomed in on and stuff, we're gonna need the room.
right?
So there could be a possibility of having to find another spot
Right,
on one occasion or
Mhm.
whatever.
right. I mean, Phoebe's group wanted you to do it on
Are
Monday.
any of the times that are
Nothing
asked
happened.
for a problem with the library?
I think Blake checked, and there was no incompatibility
With the library?
Phoebe's group, anyway. I forget when the sustainability group wanted to use it. Do you remember seeing?
They need to have it on Saturdays.
Saturdays,
And their preference is to meet outdoors so that they would.
if it's nice, yeah,
Looking for a way to do that.
Right.
So,
Which is unlikely, I mean, we never meet on Saturdays, but
1 to 3 on Saturdays, yeah.
Yeah. it's kind of like that option we gave, what's his name for his bereavement, you know, yeah, Todd Rose for
Right.
the bereavement group,
I mean, that's different than a
If-
regular
right?
routine
Well,
thing.
that was the case
So-
of Saturday, Sunday thing where, you know, that could end up being incompatible with like something like this.
Right, right, we wouldn't be able to, that wouldn't be.
Assure people that they could use it.
But,
Well, you know, if we.
I mean, we can try it and see what happens.
We should have given ourselves 5 minutes to talk about it. If it's in process, can we run over?
Before we close the meeting, can I enter these into the record with the correspondence?
Sure,
Actually, it's just one page.
Yeah.
It's basically what I said, during privilege of the floor, but I'd love to have it. Correct.
So,
Leslie, are you okay with us voting to give them this permission and
see how it goes.
to see how it goes?
yeah, but I think they need to know that it could, you know, there could be,
Subject to availability.
Yeah, well,
well,
and that we
a special incident, you know, it's
Yeah.
not,
I think we can, we'll get the minutes of this and he'll see that we're, you know, sort of giving permission for weekly use.
right,
And we're gonna review it in a couple of months.
Right.
If it's not working, we may take back the weekly use
Yeah.
permission or something like that.
Mhm. I mean, Rhonda pointed out.
or we
that-
might have to, they might have to get bumped.
Yeah, right.
On occasion, they might have to find another spot. I mean, which may be, you know,
Yeah.
does the American Legion charge for the use of the room? It's a nice room.
Same thing with the church.
Yeah.
Ron pointed out the budget room built for the
Okay.
church, but
All right, so do we need to vote?
we do if we want it, yes, we do. Are we ready? Okay.
Connors?
Yes.
Dylan?
Yes.
Larkin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Gagnon?
Yes. That completes the agenda. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending.